Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here today at Motorcorn Arena here in Cardiff, where we're announcing NathanCleverly, the WBO light heavyweight champion, next defence against Vyacheslav Muzelikov, who's from the Ukraine. Muzelikov is ranked by the WBA at number 4, by the BO at number 9, and the IBF at number 7. As you can see from his records from the press pack, he's a well-respected fighter. He's the WBO's continental champion. He's had 29 fights, winning 27 of them, and the losses were on points to the world champion, Shumanov, who in fact he had on the floor during that fight before he lost on points. So he's not been, as a pro, knocked out. I know for a fact he'll be coming to fight. I know that this is a fight that Nathan cannot afford to slip up on. We've been working very hard over the past few months to try and deliver Cardiff a real big fight. Unfortunately, people we were dealing with, Shumanov's people, refused to come here. Although we did agree that we would go to the States, but that fight couldn't take place because they couldn't get on TV. And hopefully, if Nathan comes through, we'll do that fight sometime next year. Also, Bernard Hopkins, we were in talks with him. We in fact agreed terms for Nathan to go to New York and box there in November. Again, last minute, he did. Hopkins, exactly what he did with Joe Kawasaki many years ago, changed his mind at the last minute. So, in fact, I spoke with Golden Boy yesterday, and they're talking now, maybe we can do that fight in February, again subject to Nathan coming through against Muzelikov. I also offered, personally, face-to-face, Tony Bellew to fight at the British Boxing Border Control's offices here in Cardiff a couple of weeks ago in front of the solicitor. But he chose not to take the fight. So, that's where we are. Nathan has to keep busy, he has to fight a quality fighter, and that's why we've picked this guy from Ukraine. I think he'll bring out the best of Nathan. Nathan can't afford to slip up, he has to fight. He's only had one fight this year, which is I think it's a shame. He needs to be more busy. So if we get through this one, gets out of the way. 2013, I'm hoping it'll be a lucky 13 for him, and we can go on to some bigger and better things. But he must just focus now on his fight on the 27th of October. And after that, everything's up to him, from who he wants to fight next. So that's where we are. Also on the card, we had a rematch between Orville McKenzie and Enzo Maccarinelli for the light heavyweight championship of the Commonwealth. Craig Evans, Lewis Reeds, Francis Robinson, and Liam Williams will all be fighting on the card, and we'll be announcing a couple more fights, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So it's a good night for boxing fans here in Cardiff to see the local hero, and hopefully we'll set him up, as I say, for bigger and better fights in the future. Oh, sorry, I left one off. We also offered Carl Frock £1 million to fight Nathan at the Millennium Stadium, but his promoters chose not to take the fight. So we've been working hard trying to get these fights together for him. And I'm sure they'll come, as I say, provided he does the business on the 27th. And I'm sure you've got some questions to ask, so if you want to ask questions, please feel free to do so.
How frustrating is that, Frank, to get these fights, or is that just part of the business you feel so?
It's part of the business, but it's also frustrating for me. You know, I had this with Joe Kawasaki a few years ago, and you always get the blame. They think that I'm trying to protect him. Well, my job is actually to protect him. I'm his manager and promoter, and that's what I would do. But I haven't got to worry about protecting Nathan Cleverly from Carl Frock. Tony Bellew, who's already beaten Tony Bellew in his hometown in front of his fans. I haven't got to protect him from Bernard Hopkins. I think he's got to beat Bernard Hopkins. I certainly haven't got to protect him from a unification match with Shumanov. You know, that was unfortunate because Shumanov did want the fight, but they only were prepared for the fight to take place in Vegas. We agreed to go there. But unfortunately they couldn't deliver American TV, so it didn't work for them financially. I then offered them a substantial purse to come here, but there is no way this guy wants to fight outside of Vegas. So, as I say, hopefully we can resurrect these if Nathan comes through on 27.
Uzelkov, is he a few sort of levels up from Carpentry, do you feel?
Oh, yeah. You know, look, Carpentry was going to be a mandatory. You can only fight what's in the ratings. When it comes to a mandatory defence, if you went down the ratings, there was, I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but there was an African fighter who was not allowed to fight in the country because he had problems with his eyes. There was the next guy in, I think was in prison, and then was Carpentry. So that's what you do. That's what we are told. We were being told that's, you know, as the mandatory is due. That's who we had to fight. What's happened now is that the WBO have ordered a boxer for the mandatory position. In the meantime, you know, Nathan's got to fight. This guy will come and fight. I promise the fans he'll get a good fight. He's not going to come sit on his backside.
Nathan, you've obviously had bigger ideas in the last couple of months of who you might be fighting. When we've spoken, you sort of not told me what's going on, but you reflected, you thought the next fight would be a big one. How hard is it going to be for you to sort of, you have to pick yourself up now, don't you?
Yeah, I remember speaking to Mike earlier in the year, and I said, you know, you're going to like the next fight, it's going to be a big one. But it was obviously what myself and Frank was working on. He made a couple of phone calls to me, telling me that, you know, we're getting closer to a deal with, you know, these certain opponents. And the call earlier in the year was that Hopkins, you know, we verbally agreed to fight. And like you said, at the last minute, they decided to pass on the fight. So this is why I'm boxing in October, now October the 20th. Obviously, I would have liked to have boxed earlier, but negotiating with these opponents is not easy when they don't really want to fight you. So obviously, there's been a few names mentioned. Shumanov, we was in strong talks with him, but I was willing to go to Las Vegas. You know, I was excited for that, willing to go up there, but they couldn't get a TV deal, so they didn't have the financial backing at the time. And instead, we've offered him the fight over here. Frank offered him good money to come over and defend his world title, but he didn't want to know. So that's two big names out of the hat straight away, Hopkins and Shumanov, who didn't want to fight. I was just ready to go. And the same as Frank just said, I don't need protecting. You know, I went into Liverpool to Tony Bell, who was a dangerous fighter. I went into his backyard, into the Lions Den, and beat him. You know, no problem, and I do it again. So, and the same with you know, any other light heavyweight really. So this guy, Ukrainian, he stepped up to the plate. He's coming over to fight, and I'm sure, looking at his record, you know, he's got a lot of KOs in the first 3 rounds. He's going to come and take me out, and I'm looking forward to that, because he's going to come to fight. It's going to be good for the fans, because I'm not one to take a back foot. I'll stand and trade, I'll fight with him, and we'll see who's going to come out on top. I'm looking forward to it.
Nathan, do you sometimes get bored turning up for your office, the ring, without a named opponent? No, you'd be trading back.
Oh, of course.
No, it's been okay actually. I had a good break after the last fight, after the February fight, which was a long training camp, so I had a good break. So I feel refreshed now, and I was in the gym. I felt after the long break, I had a holiday, and come back totally refreshed, and I've just been taken over in the gym for a long time now. In a way, the pressure's been off because I haven't had a fight. I've just been training, enjoying it really, getting fit, staying fit, and now the fight is announced. I'm pretty much ready to go now. So it's nice to know that I'm well in advance. I'm already fit, and as I said, it's part of my job. I'm a professional fighter, so I've got to learn to and enjoy my sport, enjoy the training. I do. I've been enjoying this camp. It's been great.
And let's just get on. This guy's a former European champion. He's and to go the distance with Shumo, it can't be bad. And he had him in all sorts of trouble. And I think what Nathan says there is absolutely right. Certainly the first three rounds, he's going to be winging them in. He comes to fight. We don't backward step.
Also, challenges he gives David as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very full speed, yeah. Distance from him,
So nice to be back in Cardiff as well, Nathan. Did you enjoy your run out here in February?
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant to be home. Obviously, we've got another opportunity now to come home with the home support. Brilliant atmosphere. You know, the true fans came out and supported me, loyal, supported their champion, and you know that's important. That's important to me, and I'm sure they'll do the same for this fight. So it was a great experience in February, and I think that's a sign of things to come, building up towards the big super fights in 2013. So I'm just going to enjoy this one again at the CIA, and then work towards the big fights then in the future.
Frank, do you understand? Do you have an idea on why these have sort of? It's been so hard to find Nathan, the quality of opposition you want. Is he too dangerous? Not big enough? A bit like
it's a combination of things. I think the issue because they couldn't get American TV. As simple as that. They've got no TV, they haven't got any income, and they wouldn't come here, which tells you a lot about their, that they just don't want to travel. That tells me that they're worried about what they would feel would be a hometown decision, which is pretty ridiculous. But as I said, we were all set to go there. Nathan was fine, I was set to go there. Hopkins is enough. I mean, that's all you can say about him. 1 minute he's put statements out saying he wants to fight Nathan, and the next one he's saying that who's this bum, I never agreed to the fight. Well, I was talking to, we're not talking, we've got all the correspondence between us, backwards and forwards. We actually agreed Nathan's purse for the fight. So Bernard Hopkins is you can't force people to fight. At the end of the day, he said no. And yet yesterday he said he would, which I can't stand his Twitter and stuff, but yesterday on Twitter, whatever it is, he said that he was going to, he wanted to fight and be ready for the 27th. We're hardly going to be able to put Nathan against Bernard Hopkins, with the greatest respect to CIA, motorsport system. Here, it's a Millennium Stadium fight. So to get it together in roughly 6-7 weeks in the so that's one for hopefully for early next year we go that way. Cole Frock, I don't understand. Let's get it right. What does the fans want to see? That is a good fight. It's a catchweight fight. Would the fans much rather see Nathan fighting Uzelikov or him fighting Yusuf Mack? It's a no-brainer. But the fact of the matter is, they refuse to fight. About what they say, well, in writing from them, they don't want to fight. So that's a great shame. So we can only, all I'm trying to lay the rest here is that, not from my point of view or Nathan's point of view or his dad's point of view, in any way we try and stop him having big fights. We want big fights. He's there. He's capable of that. His temperament's brilliant. I don't think he gets off on having to defend his title. He needs to challenge, when he defend his title against guys who are world ranked. He needs the big names to get him, I think, getting motivated and bring the best out of him. Going into Liverpool, before we made that fight with Tony Bella, everybody was saying, why is Tony Bella getting a chance? It's not going to be not much of a challenge up. I knew well in the atmosphere being hostile. It was a great fight to watch. Nathan won the fight. He came through the last few rounds and did what a champion does. And you can't take away from him the fact that he went into the other guy's backyard. That going there was the equivalent to me to go and fight, a Mexican fighter in Mexico City. That's what he did. He went into there. It was a very hostile atmosphere, and there was a lot of rubbish leading up to the fight. If you may recall, there was a lot of hostility between the camps. So it says a lot about Nathan Cleverly. He won't be bullied. He's not frightened of stepping up to the plate. And that's why I'm not worried about trying to make these fights. And we will make the fights. Now, next year they will happen. But what you can't do is take his eye off the ball now and look to next February and look to see who he's fighting one of these guys. He's got to concentrate on Zelikov. That's where it's at. That's the guy who can ruin all these plans. I've seen this happen so many times where we talk about the future. Got to focus on this guy. This guy will come to fight and he can punch. He's a puncher. And if he gets careless, and I've seen him do it, and it may be great for you fans, but as his manager, it makes my heart stop sometimes, where he just lets his heart roll his head and he wants to have a tear up. Because when you're doing that, it's one punch and it could all be over. And this guy's capable of doing that. He's capable of taking Nathan out. If he hits him on the chin, he can hurt Nathan.
Frank, did Tony Valley give any specific reason why he didn't want the rematch? Tony Valley?
Just said he didn't want it. That was it. Spring said that he wanted it, and when it come down to it, it was offered to him. The solicitor was standing there and heard me say, I said, you can have the fight. I think Nathan's, when public saying he wanted the rematch a few months ago, we talked about it. But anyway, he probably thinks the grass is greener elsewhere, and that remains to be seen. I don't want to hear from his point of view. Don't say that he wasn't offered a fight, because he was 100% offered that fight. And I'll tell you what, if he wants to pull out of his fight on Saturday, he can have the fight here on the 27th. That's how much we were prepared to give it to him. But that ain't ever going to happen.
I'm surprised, Frank, that Carl didn't want the fight, bearing in mind that from a neutral, it doesn't seem like he had a lot to lose. He wouldn't have put his titles up.
When we made this offer, I think it was September, last September. That's what it was. We made the offer a few months ago, 6-7 weeks ago. So from my point of view, I'm looking, it's a no-brainer for him. Step up the weight. We made it as a catch weight. We didn't get into discussions, we may have done that. But he steps up. One thing was going to happen there is his title will be on the line. His title. It'd only be Nathan's title on the line. So if he got beat, he's still the super middleweight champion. But it didn't happen.
Yes, and after your last fight, Frank, offered for him something in May, you couldn't take that on because of any illness?
Yeah, it was quite soon, wasn't it, in May, after the February fight, to get back into another training camp. Your body needs a break, so basically at that point I needed a little break and freshen up, and it's probably the best thing I've done really, is pull out of that one in May, because now I'm refreshed and I'm ready to go again, so I'm mentally better now as well. I'm looking forward to this fight, physically feeling great, so it's all happened for a reason.
Any other questions?
See, a Welshman, another Welsh, well, more than one Welshman, but Enzo Maccarinelli is back on this stage as well.
Yeah. He's fighting on the other card against Mackenzie.
No qualms, or something.
Sorry?
No qualms, no fears.
What, for me?
Yes.
I want to retire. I've been saying that for a long time. Enzo is a friend of mine, and I would prefer not to fight, but he's a fighting man. If he's going to fight, I'm not trying to. I'm to all intents and purposes looking after him rather than he goes off elsewhere and does it. And maybe get involved in fights that may not be at this stage. But he wants to fight, so that's where we are. But I would prefer it to retire if possible.
And Vince, do you change your training methods or carry on exactly as you did before with Nathan?
Exactly as we did before. Don't know the plan. Brilliant. He's about as fit as level as anyone has ever been. And I think you will see an improvement in Nathan on the 27th. Definitely. Could even see a stoppage. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And I think it could happen. Definitely.
I think that, this fight won't go to business. Yeah, he'd be the first guy to start this fight. And that is a big call, as I say, he's amateur level, he's been some good fighters, he's so forth, David Hayden, who's a big puncher, didn't knock him out as an amateur. So that's what he needs to do, is like that, not just go around, not just stay.
He'll definitely come to fight. I think with Carlton in the last fight, he's a little bit, he was strong, but he was a little bit negative on the back foot, blocking a lot of my shots. This guy will come to fight, so with doing that, he'll leave more openings as well, so there'll be more opportunity for me to
compared to
my shots.
You hear all this people say things, but you've got to realise, that fella comes to survive. And the reason he survived is because he has been a superb sparring partner for many, many world champions. And the reason you take a guy in like that to spar with you as a world champion, because you don't want him getting, you want rounds out of it. He's helping somebody prepare for a fight. You don't want somebody to be there 1 or 2 rounds where he falls over or he doesn't last. He's done that because he's got good ring craftsmanship. And that's what he was. And in that fight, it took paper about 5 or 6 rounds to get to drop his hands. He tucked up, he sat in his arms. And that, and for me, that's good for him to get the rounds under his belt, make him get the rounds under his belt as well. And it was another sort of opponent, one of those opponents that I think you actually do learn from. So that's done. Now on to this guy, who's a totally different style. Comes to fight, he won't have to go looking for him. The fella will be there right in front of him. As soon as that bell goes, this fella will be in there and he'll be unloading.
Well, I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, it'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
Do you throw your punches from the off, or do you wait for your opportunity and say, go the round?
No, just instincts, just going instincts really, no planning. I don't really plan any shots, so I'll just react to this guy. Whatever he brings at me, I'll just go on my instincts and throw whatever comes natural to me. And that's the way I train. So I'll be ready for it.
It's going to be 1 hour and 30 as long as it lasts. Top class fight. And also Martin Reddy and Mackenzie. 2 fantastic.
That's a good fight. It's a good return. It's a good fight the first time. Ups and downs and so forth. It's a good fight. It's a good rematch. It's a really good night's boxing and fans will enjoy it.
And also we got young Ian Williams on the bill as well. David's sparring partner.
He looks a bit old to me.
Yeah, he does that. Doing well.
You've been around for quite a long time now, but still unreachable fight.
Yeah, 25. It's early days now. I know a lot of people, again, a little bit impatient and want to see the big fights. But you've got to realise I'm still 25. Nowhere near my peak yet. So I've got time on my side. I've got a bit of time to play with. But that's not saying I don't want the big fights, because I do. But it's a good thing that I'm only going to get stronger and better as the further and the older I get now, fight by fight. So that's a really good positive for me, because everything I've achieved up until now is I'm not even in my peak. So it's exciting for me when I think of that.
Tony Beller's 29. What's Hopkins? 46, 47. Schumacher's 28. Carl from 34, 35.
What is close? 30.
He's a baby from that point. He's the same age as Amir Khan. Think about that. And everybody looks at Amir Khan like he's the same age.
I think this particular fight is a brutal opponent at the ring time. It's a dodgy fight. I think it's a fight that Nathan
And it'll be on Box Nation. The Women's Home Boxing, we call it. So it's going to be a good night. Are there any other questions? Are we all done?
Will we ever all talk with Bramer again?
Sorry?
Will we ever talk about a fight with Bramer again?
I don't want that headache. After that last one, I might go sit there and
if he gets into a man-to-man position.
Yeah, play for him. I've got better things to do in my life.
And that's another fight that we didn't turn up for the
You know, a good fight. Brain was a good fight, but he didn't want to fight him. You know, how many times it took us 2 years to get the fight, you know, signed, and then he just didn't show up. So it says a lot about Nathan. Thinks so much. You know, fighters know themselves. Fighters are not stupid guys. They know themselves. And, you know, it's the facts of life. Every name we've talked about now, except for Shumanov, we wanted a fight in the States. We've backed off, but then Shumanov will come here. So. Anyway, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, and appreciate your support and help us promote the show. We'll be announcing a couple more fights to go on the undercard in the next week or so.